All right, poem 22, Tao Te Ching. I'm go there right now. Okay, so again, right, we are going to work on this together. This is wisdom literature, so we need to. I cannot do this on my own. Wisdom is found together, right? All right, so we're gonna again read. I'm gonna read a few passages. Here especially, I mean, you should be seeing here, there are so many connections I'm seeing over and over again between Tao Te Ching and Ecclesiastes, right? I don't think we did Ecclesiastes. Yeah, we did chapter 3 of Ecclesiastes, right? When it's a time to be born, a time to die. This is almost the same thing, right? So it's very interesting. Of course, it means a little bit different. We're going to see that there's some nuance, but it's very similar, the idea of embracing the whole, right? In order to embrace the whole, we need to embrace all of life. And we'll see again this idea in Nietzsche. So prepare yourself for a test question like Tao Te Ching and Nietzsche. You know, that would be interesting. Right, connections between the two. Not for this time, but when we do Nietzsche, right? So I'm seeing so many connections there too. So, all right, let's begin. There's a whole list now of how to, more on how to embrace reality more fully, right? So let's talk about the first one. If you want to become whole, let yourself be partial, meaning let yourself become a part. All right, let's stop on that. What does it mean? In what part of, like, what moment of life could this apply to? Give me an example in your life of how, if you want to know the whole, you have to know the part. Let's see how we can apply this or illustrate this idea.
What?
22, poem 22.
How does it start?
If you want to become whole, let yourself be partial. Make sense? In your thing? You have a different poem? Okay, cool. All right, I'm listening. What does it mean? If you want to know all, you have to know the part of it. Yes.
Maybe you need to experience certain things that you haven't before. Like, in order to fully experience happiness, let's say, you have to go through something that was hard for you in order to fully appreciate happiness.
Okay, good. You're actually looking. What you're saying looks more like the third one. If you want to become full, let yourself become empty. So keep it. We'll keep it in the fridge for you. What does it mean to? What is so, or how should I put it? In order to know all of something, you have to know a part of something. What does it mean to know? What is so important about just knowing a part? And how can we apply this? And realizing that while I'm knowing just this part, I'm actually accessing the whole, right? Accessing the whole through the part, right? How does that work? That's what he's saying, right? You cannot access the whole of life, all of life, unless you are able to focus on the part. So what good advice is he giving us? I'm hearing tons of advice. Yes, Rachel.
Kind of sounds like that saying where it's like, if you want to lead, you have to learn how to follow first.
Okay, very good. You have to be a part of the flock, right? Before you can lead the whole flock. I like that. That would work, right? You need to be a member of the flock before you can actually take control of the whole thing. So yes, that's great leadership advice, right? Excellent. I like that one. How else can we interpret this? A lot of us, right, in this life, we want to taste everything, try everything. What is he saying here about knowing everything, tasting everything, experiencing everything? What is the best way to experience everything in life? Paradoxically, what's the best way to do it?
Maybe by just focusing on one thing and then everything.
So that's what he's saying, right? How does that work? Give me an example of how focusing on one thing can really give you, boom, all of life. In one little thing is contained all of life. And if you go deep enough with that little thing, you have tasted all of life. Give me an example of this, of where you might be tempted to explore all of life and where actually the text is saying, no, pick one. And you will actually have all of it there. Bokhari, we are on poem 22. So, Okay, so let's pick one. Let's pick, traveling is great. Suppose you want to get to know, different cultures, different languages, different civilizations. You want to just eat up the world, right? What's the advice that he's giving you in order to really become a cosmopolitan citizen of the world? What is the best way to become a citizen of the world according to the Tao Te Ching? Would he advise, go visit every country and then come home and you're good, you're a citizen of the world? What would he advise, however? There's one thing he would say that's going to work, that will make you a citizen of the world. Yes?
In this case, he would advise going to basically just go to a specific place. And in that perspective, if you were to keep on with this analogy, if you were to go all around the world, you will only know at a surface level, but if you were to continue down, let's say like you learn about Spain, you would know more than you ever did going through the multiple different regions. So basically, like the idea I have is that if you want to be partial, you basically focus in on the things that make you happy instead of just the whole, because you might have more enjoyment from that and that'll make you whole.
Okay, very good, right? You want to become a citizen of the world, pick one country that's not yours, right? Go really deep, learn the language, learn the culture, study there as a native, right? Don't just go to language school and, hang out with tourists, right? Really enter. Then when you emerge, only you know two countries, but it's enough for you to have broadened your mind like 360%, right? Degrees, sorry, right? You were like this and now, right? So the idea that just by going deep in one thing, you can actually touch on everything is very powerful. This applies also to relationships. Let's look at that a little bit. I'm looking at romantic relationships. What is the biggest temptation?
Cheating.
So cheating or having, I think the biggest temptation is to think, I want to be able to try everything before I settle down, right? Correct? Okay. That's where y'all are, right? Like, I don't want to settle down just yet, right? Because I don't know who I am. I want to make sure I've tried many different cultures and people, and that's how I'm going to figure out who I am. What's the Tao Te Ching telling you in order to really connect to the all? What should you do? Pick one and go deep, and you will touch on everything. It's very powerful advice. It's very counterintuitive, right? Pick one, go deep. You will learn everything you need to know, and you will discover everything you need to know about yourself. You don't need to go in the whole to meet the whole. You pick one part, and if you go deep enough, you will find every woman, every man, every part of you is there in that one person. This is very powerful advice, right? He's really saying, if you want to really know life, focus. That's what he's saying. You want to really know multiplicity, pick one, right? You want to really know, and it's the same goes with even picking a career, right? Or picking a major. Some of us are like, I like everything. I want to do some math, some chemistry, some French, some philosophy. Pick one. You go deep enough, you touch on everything. You will touch on everything if you go deep enough. You'll touch on science. You'll touch on, literature. You'll touch on art. Everything is always encompassed in the part. So very, very good advice, right? Because when we are young, we want to taste everything. This is the temptation: is to really spread ourselves thin and enter and really enter the multiplicity. That's what we want. We want to have it all, right? And what he's saying is, you want to have it all, pick one. Focus. Once you focus, you will have it all, right? That's the idea. Okay, great. I like that one. That's kind of cool. Okay, here's another one. I love this one. This is my favorite one. If you want to become straight, let yourself be crooked. Ooh, it's nice. What does it mean? That's confusing, right? What does it mean? Who has an idea? Yes, Ujula.
That one, at least to me, was if you think that you have your life planned out, like if you already know what you want to do, take risks.
Okay, nice. I like that, right? Are we locked in? No. Right. We want a straight line, and we don't understand that life works in zigzags. And once we understand that, we relax. We're not like, oh, I wasted all this time. No, that's normal. You had to go there, and then you had to go there, and then you had to go there. No one goes in a straight line, right? Once we understand that life is all about not making even mistakes. See, that's when you think in a straight line way. Oh, I made all these mistakes. I wasted all this time. No, that was your life, right? That's your path. I remember talking to a friend and being like, I wasted so much time, in this relationship, making this mistake and that mistake, and all of a sudden, and I realized, I went like this, and I wasted a lot. He's like, you didn't waste any time. That's how it was supposed to go. That is how you were supposed to. That was your path, right? So I like that a lot. Really recognizing that life writes in crooked lines and not in straight lines, and really kind of giving ourselves grace for the times we wasted. Nothing is wasted. That was part of your life. That was a big chunk of your life where you grew, where you matured, and then you went this way and wasted some more time, right? And so forth. Yes, Bukhari, excellent. It's like trial and error, right? Life is made up of trying this and missing that, but it's not even missing anything because it's part of your life, right? Anytime you say, I wasted time, I made a mistake, I failed, you are forgetting that life is crooked, right? You're thinking, my life should have been a straight line, but life is not like that, right? Excellent. What else could it mean? If you want to be straight, let yourself be crooked. Let's think in terms of virtue, to be straight in terms of, I am walking the straight path of virtue. What is he saying about being a good person, right? Straight. What does he say? In order to be virtuous, what must you learn? Based on this text. In order to be truly virtuous, what must you be capable of? Ramos.
Well, I was going to say that I believe in one of the other lessons we have learned that to, I guess, be faithful, we have to go through atheism first, to be an atheist first. And I feel like that sort of like connects to it, that you sort of have to experience what's considered right and what's wrong before you understand what's right and wrong in terms of, your religion or being virtuous or anything.
Very nice. Yes, absolutely. You took philosophy of religion. Yes. I remember. Yes, very good. Yes, in order to really know, or in order to really become a good person, you have to have made mistakes. I am so sick of and tired of these people who are perfect, never lived a thing in their lives, and telling us what to do. Right? It's like, you don't know anything. You don't know what I'm going through. You don't know, right? So once you've gone through life and made a few mistakes, now you are ready to teach virtue, right? Because you know what it's like to be on the other side of virtue, right? If you have never made mistakes, you cannot find wisdom. True wisdom, right? So very good. I like that a lot. Excellent. Okay, here's a good one. If you want to become full, let yourself be empty. What does this mean? So let's think in terms of fullness, like when our life is full, our life is abundant, we have everything we want. And what does it mean in order to reach abundance, become empty? That doesn't sound like a lot of fun. What is he saying? Why is emptiness the path to abundance? And what does it mean to reach these levels of emptiness? And you were kind of on the right track when you were talking last time.
What I was saying was, once you have nothing, you start to gain appreciation for everything else that comes in your life. If at first you're, let's say you're born in like a very rich family, you're given everything, and then you take it all for granted, you don't appreciate it, then if something happens and then you guys end up having nothing, once you start getting these small things, you start to become more appreciative and more, you become happier and more full.
Okay, very nice, right? Experiencing lack, right, really sets you up for really appreciating abundance, right? This is why life does this to us, right? Before life gives us anything, takes away first. This is a constant in life. Anytime there is a promised land for you, whether it's career-wise or relationship-wise or health-wise, anytime there is a promised land, there's a desert first that you will have to cross. That's the law of nature. Just accept it. That's how it works, right? Anytime you want to reach something amazing for yourself, just know this. You cannot reach the promised land until you pass through the wilderness and the desert, right? Anything beautiful in your life will go through the door is at the other end of a wilderness, right? Anything powerful, anything beautiful, you have to walk through the wilderness. Why? Because that is what prepares you. That is what increases your capacity to receive what is next. You see, here's what I've understood finally after a long time about life. We don't have enough capacity to receive the amazing that is waiting for us. And only the desert broadens and enlarges us, right? Only suffering or pain or struggle or toil or hard work enlarges you in a way that you can receive what is next. If you were given right away the promised land, you would miss it, right? We have to first be shaped to receive it, right? And so the wilderness always precedes abundance, right? Emptiness in your life will always precede fullness, because it is by becoming empty that you prepare yourself to become full. So if you're experiencing a period of emptiness, rejoice. Fullness is just around the corner, right? That's how it works, right? Very good, I like that. Okay, here's a good one. This one is close to the Upanishads, actually. If you want to be reborn, let yourself die. What's going on? By the way, this idea we'll find again in the Gospels when we study them soon. If you want to be, so let's understand it now already. If you want to be reborn, let yourself die. So what did the Upanishads say about that? So Upanishads had a lot to say about rebirth and death. Nachiketas was, remember, talking to death, learning from death. What did Nachiketas learn in the Upanishads? What are we learning here? What does it mean that we have to die in order to be reborn? You want to try? Mm-hmm.
Is it that once you die and suffering or going through pain, it sort of opens up this dimension to a new life?
Yeah, absolutely. Right? That's what we saw in the Upanishads. Some part of this, the ego has to die before the true self can emerge, right? In every situation where you want your true self to emerge, the small self has to die. The small, selfish, narrow, right, greedy self has to die before you can reach your highest potential. So we saw this with Nachiketas, right, that in many ways, and this is, I think this is one of the main purposes of suffering in our lives, is to kill the small self. And if we allow that to go, we can emerge a bigger self, right? Losing a job is a kind of death where you can be rebirthed. Losing a partner is a kind of death where you can be rebirthed. Losing your health is a kind of death where you can be rebirthed if you learn how to die well, right? If you learn how to die well, if you really embrace the pain as your master, teaching you something, right? Then you can be rebirthed, right? We need to start seeing pain as a teacher and not as your worst enemy, right? It's a teacher. We'll see this with Al-Ghazali. He's also going to be talking about the joys of pain, right? So very good. And here's the last one. These last four, they're very similar to what we'll study in the Gospels. If you want to be given everything, give everything up. Oh, what's this? What does it mean to give everything up? In order to get everything. This is similar to the text we did last time about acting without doing. Yes.
I would say it's similar. He's like, don't grasp. You just have to give up all your wants and just let it come to you.
Ah, so beautiful. I love it. Yes, absolutely. In life, we're constantly grasping. This is why we're so depressed. There's always something to grasp, right? There's always something we don't have and have to have, right? The moment you stop grasping and just surrender and be like, okay, let me just receive what comes my way. This is the deepest wisdom. I am still struggling with that, right? I'm still trying to, prep myself. Stop grasping. Stop it. Just receive, breathe, right? It's not easy because we're natural graspers, right? This idea of just stop grasping, right? Give up on that desire and just see what life brings you. Trust that life will bring you something amazing in any case, right? Then you can really find this kind of happiness and we've been talking about this in the Ecclesiastes also, right? Excellent. Okay, so let's see. Let me see what I can. Oh, we have lots of time today. Going slower, slower? Yeah, slower than I thought. Okay, let's continue. Yes, here's a nice one. The master. This is us, hopefully. eventually, right? We will become masters, right? By residing in the Tao, right? When you're completely aligned with the Tao. And remember, we talked about how to do that, right? Last time. To align with the Tao, that would be a great test question. Sadly, I already picked them. But to align with the Tao, remember, is to act without doing, right? Let's review, since, go back to poem 2. What does it mean to act without doing? We learned 5 things. This is how you align, right? Tell me, somebody, the list on page, on poem 2.
The acting without acting?
Yes. So he says it, the master acts without doing, and then there is a list of what that looks like, right? Azarad.
You, instead of like starting something, you have to, you respond to something instead of imposing the idea.
Yes. So in general, right? Acting without acting is responding to the environment. So we said this in the introduction, but then he gave us a whole lot more, right? To chew on. Look at this. Teaching without saying. That's a way of doing, right? Acting without doing. Having without possessing. Things coming your way, you let them. Things go, you release them. This is all acting without, and we went on and on, right, about that. And then last one, to act but not to expect, right? So go back to that, because this is really, if you really discipline yourselves, right? And I'm going to include myself there, because I also struggle with this philosophy, right? If we were to discipline ourselves and really refine the art of acting without doing, we would be aligned with the Tao perfectly, right? Now, the master, by residing in the Tao, sets an example for all beings. And here's a good one. Because he doesn't display, people can see his light. So let's talk about this a little bit. What does it mean? I mean, how is it that the light shines more brightly when you are not putting yourself on display? Explain this to me. I mean, sorry, go ahead, Azra, and then Ramos. Yeah.
I would say that if you're not trying to show off and show your life on display, then you're doing things for yourself and what you want to do, and that's where true happiness comes from. And that's when, I guess, your glow and your light starts to show.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to come back to that. Did you want to add the...
Yeah, I was just going to say, is it like connecting to the whole, like, you have to do what you want to do, and then life will sort of take over and put yourself on display instead of you sort of trying to get there?
Yeah, absolutely, right? If you're really following your path, right, and you're not really worrying about what is happening, what you're not thinking about grasping, you will have that inner glow, right? And so, see, the person who is grasping is not glowing. They're desperate, anxious, depressed, right? So if you're living really in tune with the Tao, meaning you're receiving, you're relaxed, you're, I think like Ojuma said last time, mellow, right? Mellowed out, right? You actually will have this peaceful, right, aura, or this very joyful aura about you. So, right, whereas if you're trying anything, as long as you're in the grasping mode, which is display is like that. Why do I put myself on display? So I can get this, get that. So you're in grasping mode, right? Putting yourself on display is you in grasping mode, right? Anytime you're in grasping mode, you're desperate. Anytime you're desperate, you're dark, right? There's no light in somebody who is desperate. The moment you are trusting, releasing, surrendered, then you're restful. And at that moment, you emanate what he said very nicely, this natural light, right? So that's the idea here, right? I'm seeing a couple of things in the chat. Yes, Bokhari is saying you can't grasp anything, right, without growing. So yeah, the importance of, right, be careful, Bokhari, grasping here is bad, right? Grasping is the desperate, right, trying to get what you want out of life. And with the Tao Te Ching, we're learning to let go, to surrender and to trust. Anyone who is trusting versus desperate is going to be naturally peaceful and joyful, right? And display is grasping, right? Very good. Let's skip a little bit. Here we go again with the same idea. If you want to be given everything, give everything up, right? And then finally, here's a beautiful ending. Only by being lived by the Tao can you be truly yourself? So let's look at that a little bit. Only by being lived by the Tao can you truly be yourself. It's very, very profound. If we can understand this, we will not hesitate to surrender to life, right? What is he saying here? First of all, what does it mean to be lived by the Tao? Let's analyze that one first. What does it mean to be lived by? So this is, something is living through you, right? What does he mean by the Tao living through me? And how is this making me more myself? You think it's like this alien thing moving through me. How is that making me more myself? No? Nothing? Nobody? Seriously?
I'm not sure being lived in by the Tao is like supposed to be like referring to like an alien substance. I just think it's kind of like embodying the ideals of the Tao. You can truly be yourself, which is also referring to the whole truly your smaller self.
Okay, very good, right? The Tao is nature. If you align with nature, you will also align with your nature, right? If you align with the intelligence of the universe, you will automatically align with your intelligence, right? If you align with the wisdom of nature, you align with your wisdom, right? It's one and the same, right? The Tao is not, it's not like the a Judeo-Christian God, which is separate, different, and so now, you know, possession by the God is problematic. Here, the Tao is you, your best self, right? The Tao is the intelligence that resides within you. So once you align yourself with the Tao, you're actually aligning yourself with yourself, right? Because you are part of nature, right? If you align yourself with nature, boom, you find your natural self, right? That's the idea. By the way, these texts are very useful. Also, the Upanishads, when it talks about, you know, when you align with the divine in you, it's natural because it's in you. This will help us understand much better difficult texts like the Gospels, right, where Jesus is saying, my will is surrendered to the Father, and we're like, oh hell no. My will is not going to be surrendered to any father, right? So because there is a separation in Judaism and Christianity between us and God, so when we surrender to God, it's like being surrendered to something alien. But if we understand God as a natural part of ourselves, like here, right, it becomes easier to surrender. And I think it will help to read, it would help, I think, to read the Gospels in that light. Right, and we'll talk about this mode of surrender in the Gospels when we do them next in the coming days, right? So, but it really helps, I think, to understand Christianity in the light of the Upanishads and the Tao Te Ching, because there are connections, and the one really clarifies the other. It's not a surrender to an alien force, and we're going to look at that when we do the text. Good. Okay, anything else before we go on to explaining, since I have some time today, thank God, explain the text. Okay, the test, I mean. All right, good. So we are at the end of our Chinese journey. So two things I want to tell you before we go. First of all, I'm going to tweak the syllabus again, guys. Please be prepared. I'm going to put a new one. I'm going to put Epictetus in with Nietzsche. And we're going to study the Gospel of John with Al-Ghazali because they're more similar in content. We are going to enter into the philosophies of the beloved. So both Al-Ghazali and the Gospel of John are mystical texts, right? We talked about the Tao within, the divine within. We are going to talk about the beloved within now. So we are entering mysticism, mystical texts, which are also another way, right, to find joy. So Al-Ghazali and the Gospel of John are very similar. So we're going to study them together. And then Epictetus, as I was reading him and preparing for the class, it's just like Nietzsche. Epictetus is a Greek philosopher from right around the 100 AD or something. And he's a Stoic. We'll talk about Stoicism, and really Nietzsche is also a kind of Stoic, right? So they belong together. So I'm going to tweak the syllabus in a bit, maybe right now after class. Let me write a note to myself, right? And then I'll just tell you in an announcement that the syllabus has been tweaked. Okay, second thing I want to talk about is the test. I have my great book. Let me see how you guys did last time. How are we doing here in this class in terms of the test? Let me stop the, well, let me not stop the recording in case someone wants to hear about the test. So, it's not bad in general, right? Lanera disappeared, sadly, because he's missing a test. But the rest of you are doing okay. So, just a reminder, right? I already put the 2 questions on Blackboard, so you can start working on them. Just remember, for the test, it's your notes, right? The more detailed your notes, the better your test answer is going to be. You want to bring in as much as possible of the notes into the test. Don't try to think about it yourself. You can, but make sure you have what we said about in class too, right? Because what I'm looking for in the test is verification that you're taking notes. That's all the test is. Are you taking notes? So if I'm seeing the notes, and then if you want to add, of course you can add, but I want to see what we talked about, right? So each answer should be 1 page, single-spaced, with supporting quotes, right? And then you have the essay. So the essay is 1.5 pages, single-spaced, and this is your happiness journey, right? Tell me where you're at now, and was there anything in the text that we studied that inspired you, and you tell me a little bit about that. Make sure that it's 50-50, right? 50% you, 50% the text. Don't write me your whole life, and then 1 line about the Tao Te Ching, right? No. I want you to really delve into the text. What are some of the ideas? Develop them, right? And so forth. Some of you, anyone who wants to look at their past test, if they're curious why they got what they got so they can get better, we can talk after class. Ojima?
I was just curious because you said that was going to be due on Saturday on October 19th, and that's on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, do that. Yes, because we have a break on the October 19th, right? So I can do that, yes. I can make it be due on October 19th at 4:25, right? And then I will grade them. So yeah, do you prefer that?
Which is the Monday, right?
Because I believe we have no class. Do we have no class? Can someone confirm to me that we have no class on October 19th? I'll confirm myself. Apparently I'm the only one. Okay. I have the old syllabus. Anybody have the new syllabus on hand? Tell us, please. When is the test, and is October 19 a Tuesday? Let me check. Yeah. Did I say the test October 19?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys prefer that, or you want to do it over the weekend? That gives you a little more time, right? It's kind of tight now, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, October 19th. So no class on October 19th. You can take your test during that time, right? Or before, whatever. But if it's on October 19th, needs to be in by 5 p.m., right? Because I'm going to be grading from 5 to 6. So you have all this time. So please get it in on time. And then likewise your essay. Yes? Yeah, it can be either one or both. You decide. If you were really inspired by the Upanishads, you do that. If you were inspired by both, you do that. Or just that, I don't care. As long as you talk to me about something. Okay, good. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it.